That autumn evening in Willowbrook, an elderly shopkeeper named Mr. Harris was closing his small store when he heard a faint whimper. At first he thought it was just the wind, but the sound grew sharper, a weak cry, soft yet desperate. Curious and concerned, he followed the noise behind the dumpsters. There, he found a black plastic bag trembling slightly. With shaking hands, he tore it open, and inside was a newborn puppy. Its eyes were still closed, its frail body crawling with fleas, abandoned to die. For a moment, Mr. Harris stood frozen. He was an old man, living alone, barely strong enough to care for himself. But as the helpless creature shivered in his palms, something inside him refused to walk away. He tucked the tiny pup inside his coat and whispered, "You're safe now, little one." That night, he rushed to a late-night pharmacy to buy powdered milk and a baby bottle. The cold wind stung his skin, but his focus never wavered. He was determined to save the puppy. At home, he clumsily mixed the milk, and the pup, weak and trembling, latched on hungrily. Just like caring for a newborn, Harris stayed up all night, waking every 2 hours to feed him and gently rub his belly. Days turned into weeks, and Harris's life slowly began to revolve around the fragile little life in his care. He named the puppy Lucky, a reminder that, against all odds, the tiny creature had survived. But caring for Lucky wasn't easy. Fleas covered his tiny body, making him scratch and whine constantly. Harris tried everything: warm baths, natural remedies made from peach leaves, as suggested by an old neighbor. Slowly, the fleas began to disappear, and Lucky finally slept soundly in Harris's warm, comforting hands. Then, new challenges came. Lucky's fur started falling out, leaving bald patches on his skin. Terrified he had failed, Harris traveled over an hour to a veterinary clinic in Riverside City. The first doctor prescribed strong medication, but Harris hesitated. He was afraid such drugs might be too harsh for such a small pup. Unconvinced, he sought a second opinion at another clinic. There, a kind veterinarian diagnosed Lucky with dermatitis caused by poor nutrition and a weak immune system. The treatment, thankfully, was simple: medicated baths, nutritious food, and constant care. Belly, and Lucky began to nurse, his tiny tail wagging for the very first time. Harris stood watching, tears in his eyes. For the first time since finding the puppy in that trash bag, he felt the heavy weight on his shoulders lift. Weeks later, when Harris returned, Lucky was unrecognizable. His fur was shiny, his eyes sparkled with life, and his little body was strong and full of energy. The moment he saw Harris, he bounded forward, barking with joy. No longer the fragile creature he had once been, Lucky leaped into Harris's arms. The old man knelt, hugging him tightly and whispering, "You really are lucky." From that day on, Lucky had two families: Maya, who gave him milk, and Harris, who gave him love and a home. Once left to die in the cold, Lucky's story became one of survival, kindness, and second chances. And in the quiet town of Willowbrook, people said that the night Mr. Harris opened that trash bag, he didn't just save a puppy, he found a reason to keep going.